Huh? Right there. Yeah, we have a trip to Reno for all the fans that we're up to Reno in a couple weeks. Um, for your morning walk when it's cool in the winter, there's nothing better than a great Rebels beanie cap, and you don't have to go as crazy as I do with mine. So, um, obviously last week was a great win for us as a team. Um, we talked to the guys about sticking together to keep building confidence, and keep battling. That I always think in football, it's like right. I mean, the perception or what you look at when you watch a game, even when you coach a game for the fans, everybody. I mean, it's like a roller coaster, right? When you're at the ultimate high, and then boom, you go crashing down to the ultimate low, right? Oh, and then we're whipping around sideways. What's going on? Then we're back up high, down low. When in reality, it's kind of more like, right, it's never quite as good as it seems, and it's never really quite as bad as it seems, right? And, you look at it, and I think with this team, we kept talking to our guys about consistency of performance, that we did great things and we did bad things, right? And it seems like we were here. When in reality, our great things had us here and our bad things had us here, and we just got to be more consistent to bring those up. It wasn't that drastic of a swing. And so defensively, I thought we corrected a lot of issues. We had our least number of missed assignments. I thought we did a good job tackling in space. We did a good job of communicating, making sure we were in position. That first drive they came out, gave us a couple of new looks, and we did a good job adjusting to it. Offensively, I think, again, you want to be consistent. I think, I'd love us to start faster. We started a little bit of slow, but once we got a feel for all the different blitz packages that they had, we were able to execute. And I think as you saw, when we talked about the risk reward, we had a bunch of explosive big plays down the field. But you had to be patient to stick with it and consistently perform to hit some of those. So really pleased with that. Hopefully it's a lot for us to build off of moving forward as a team, right? And we have 19 days till we play in Reno. 19 days, the regular season's over. Can we have that much attention to detail of the exactness of the toughness? Because every team in the country is sore. Every team's tired. It's been a long year. Everyone's battling through this and has this issue, that issue. Can we focus for the next 19 days on every little attention to detail to go win some games? And, obviously it starts this Saturday with Utah State, who's, you have statistically the top two offenses in the league playing each other, right? So logically to think it's probably going to be a 10-7 game, right? Then generally how college football works or something like that, right? It's a huge challenge that they have so many explosive weapons and players and skilled athletes. Got a great quarterback that can hurt you. And with his legs, he hurts you with his arm, he hurts you with his mind, he hurts you with his heart, the toughness of how he plays. All of that comes together, and then you combine it with the skilled receivers they have in the perimeter and the explosiveness. I think you saw it, I think, last week. Right? I think Reno would run like 5 plays, and it was 21-0 already. They're an explosive football team. And so we're going to have to perform. And then, on the other side of the ball, you're looking at, playing a head coach and a defensive coordinator that have been together for almost 20 years, and a head coach that's a defensive coach. That is the coach, Bronco's one of the top coaches. We faced each other just a couple of years ago in the Orange Bowl. Was it 2019, right? I was at Florida, he was at Virginia, playing each other in an Orange Bowl game. And so, I think there's the, not that we've played each other every single year, but there's the familiarity with the offense and the defense that we're going to go against. So it'll be a big challenge for us, and obviously a huge home game. It's going to be great to be home, and and hopefully we get a great crowd, get that home field advantage and that support from all the people of Las Vegas and the Rebel fans everywhere to come cheer us on.
Coach, explosive game for all 3 running backs last week. Do you have any sort of a rotation on how you utilize the running backs? Is it based on feel, or how do you utilize all three?
I think it'll get to feel later in the game. It's just generally a rotation early to keep everybody fresh. I think that's a big aspect of things, of keeping the guys fresh. And you look at the productivity. Like I was saying, we don't go in with saying, snap counts, or, this play is for this guy or this play is for that guy. We kind of go in and we get all three of them into the flow of a game early, and then kind of see is someone got a hot hand? What's the game calling for? Right? Of like, hey, is this a more of a space game, more of a between the tackles, physical pounding game? And then who gives us the best opportunity in those situations? That's kind of the adjustment we make as the game goes on with the running backs. But Quinton Ganther does an awesome job of I always say this because, right, everybody in the room wants the ball. Everyone in the room wants the ball every play. Right? But, you look at like Jalen Glover 2 weeks ago was our top special teams performer in the game. Now, this week he has almost 100 yards rushing, right? Of what Coach Ganther and what he does is the ability for those guys to understand the importance of your role on the team. And just trust in your role and do whatever you're doing as hard as you possibly can. And if you do, right, you're going to, like, hit what you want at the end. It might, like every running back's dream is not to be like, hey, they want the ball, they want to run the ball. But sometimes they're catching it. Sometimes they're blocking, right? Sometimes they're running down, covering kicks, returning kicks. Whatever it is, trust in what the team needs you to do, and good things will happen to you. And I think all three of those guys have bought into that, and all three of those guys are having a great deal of success because of it.
You said in the past that for a quarterback it could take a year. You said it's one time maybe even 2 years to grasp everything you want. Could you put a percentage on Calandri at this point, and why would you give him that percentage? Like, where is he?
Yeah. I probably would go, where I'm at in the 70s, which is probably pretty high at this point. And I think a lot of that, and it's high for me because, one, he came in with experience, right? So it's kind of a trickier one because he's not a freshman coming in, right? So the speed of the college game, that, like, he was ready to adjust to that. So maybe even a little bit higher than that, maybe in the 80s. Definitely not higher than 80. I'm a perfectionist. I don't know anybody that's ever, right? Like Heisman Trophy winners that I'm like, I don't know if they've hit the 90 yet. But I think the great thing he had, you take the experience, so the speed of the game, ready to go. You take the experience of playing in big games, ready to go. Being on the stage, being in game, like calling a game, managing a game, and situationally ready to go. I think, you take his ability to translate his skills to apply them to our offense. I think he's done a fantastic job of that, which is a maturity deal, right? Of not just say, hey, this is what I do, I'm just doing my thing. Hey, we're going to look at what you do well. Let's apply your skills to what we want to do offensively. Make sure you're managing the game. And I think you see that now. You see his growth of if he gets, you give him one-on-one, he's probably going to take a shot down the field and give a guy a shot down the field, right? And if they're bracketing and doubling people, you're seeing him checking the ball down and just taking what the defense gives you. And then, all of a sudden you drop and everybody's covered, look out. That's when he might be at his best, when, he just takes off and does special things. And, even running the football part of it, where you saw early in the season, he just kind of catches it and, right, just takes off in any different direction, right? It's like the 100-meter dash with those of no sense of direction. For any Monty Pythoners in here, you guys never seen that one, huh? You ever see that one? That's a classic. But there's homework assignment for y'all. But now you watch him, and, he's hitting holes and running where he's supposed to run the ball.
Would you 70%, like where areas or all those areas
I think the last one for all great quarterbacks, right, is that just pure drop back, right? Where, you watch where I don't know if I've had anybody that I'd put in that highest of levels of pure, where I'm just going to stand there and I'm going to constantly go through fifth progression and make sure every protection check's perfect and get to like fifth read in a progression. Those are the things that take a long time.
And finally, Reed, where does he come about in terms of anchoring that line, and how do you think he's graded out, and how do you think he's done this year?
He graded a champion this game, so he graded out this game. I think Reed's done a great job because we do put a lot on him, within the leadership and making all the calls. I think he gives us a lot of flexibility. Yes, Mike, he'll give us a lot more flexibility on the O-line, especially, in games where we're trying to make adjustments in game, or you're starting to see, like they come out and give us something that we haven't seen. His knowledge and his ability to sit there and say, hey, we're going to have to go against our base rule because of this defense. I got to ID, like I'm supposed to ID over here, but if they come out in a certain look, we want to change it. I think his knowledge gives us a lot more flexibility up front to do that, and he's graded out a whole lot as a champion for us most of the season.
2 questions as it relates to depth.
Mm-hmm.
You've had 9 games to evaluate your roster. How pleased are you with the amount of depth you were able to cultivate? And with these final 3 games, I know you want to win them all and get some momentum going into the bowl game, but how important would it be to get some people some more playing time in the event that they're needed for the bowl game if someone decides to opt out or someone gets hurt, things like that.
I think it's always huge. And we're at a point, we have a lot, especially when you look at young guys. I really wish the NCAA would do the right thing and just go to the 5-for-5 rule for kids, which really would be, I think, the right thing to do, and it just make things easier for everybody. And kind of solidify the role. So we've protected kids to make sure they preserve because we still have to, a potential red shirt year. So we track that. I think, now you'll start to see a couple of guys that now, you're down to 3 games left. So even if guys have played in 1, they can play in all the rest of them. So I think that part of it, huge, that we're not going to be shy, especially at home. We probably would have played some more players on Saturday, but we're on the road, so you're kind of you're limited in the people that are there. If that was a home game, we probably would have thrown some more guys out there, as you said, right? I mean, you get their feet wet and just say, hey, I've been in a game, right? It's kind of a cool deal. So I don't mind doing that moving forward down the stretch if we need to. I think our depth, I'm pretty pleased. I think if you watch us, we rotate a lot of players. And, really on both sides of the ball, right? I mean, you look at the number of people that have double-digit catches for us, right? I mean, we have a chance to have 4 different people have over 300 yards rushing in a season. You're not seeing that probably as much at a lot of places. They kind of have their feature players. We play our guys, which hopefully, and in recruiting probably will help us down the road too, that like, hey, if you come to UNLV, you're going to get to play. It's not, hey, we just feature these 2 guys and nobody else gets to play. I like that, creating the depth for all the different reasons. And I think our depth's solid, and I think you're going to start to see, I don't know. The guys got to earn it. You don't just get to step on the field. You got to earn it. But now if guys have earned it, the protection net of anybody if they've only played in 1 game so far, that protection net's now gone. They can get on the field in any of the 3, offense, defense, or special teams.
Coach, I was just wondering, when you look at the history of the season so far, giving up 46, 56, and 40, whatever, and then all of a sudden 10. Were they that deficient? Were you guys that good defensively, or what? What was the light bulb that went on with a lot of these defensive guys?
Well,
Were they
I
that
think
bad,
like I said, you go back to some of these games of, you have 320 yards on 6 plays against New Mexico. Well, if we fit those 6 plays better, let's say those 6 plays, I'll give them 10 yards a play. Those 6 plays are 60 yards. New Mexico's under 300 yards of offense and probably scores 10 points. I mean, kind of frustrating, right? I mean, Boise, we had, I think, 5 MAs on their touchdowns. So let's take 5 of their touchdowns off the board. Probably a little different game, right? Like the mental errors of just making little mistakes that way. That I think, and we've just been on the coaches, like the coaching, the attention to detail, to making sure it's taught by the coaches, making sure it's understood by the players. It's one thing to teach. I can teach you anything, but if you're like sitting there and you mess it up, then I taught it wrong. And so I think that's all part of it for the guys, and it's a lot of credit for the guys to keep their confidence, to look and own it, right? I mean, there's not in the world today, I don't know, we're not filled with accountability, right? I mean, these guys all grew up with everyone gets a trophy deal, right? So, what they got to understand, that seems nice and all, but in our league, only one person gets a trophy. So you want the trophy, you got to do it right all the time. But to our guys' credit, there could have been finger pointing. There could have been, a quit. There could have been a panic. There could have been a lack of belief. Or there could be, hey, we need to, let's identify each and every issue by everybody involved and continue to work to fix it, right? And don't just say, hey, I'm going to do the same thing this week I did last week. I mean, that's right? I mean, that's the definition of insanity. And so, but change is uncomfortable, people. And we made little changes here and there of what we did. And, and I think hopefully it builds some confidence in our guys, right? Of, moving forward.
Did you kind of sense that after the game? The defense was all fired up and excited because they'd only given up 10? Or
yeah, well, I think you sense that was kind of what they expect in some ways, right? I don't know. I looked and I said I think there was a confidence switch in the team, okay, that hit. We're up 14-10. We just scored, right? We're down 7-0, tie it. They kick a field goal, right? We go and score again, and it's 14-10, and we got to stop on 4th down. And I think that next play was the first time we've played with a lead. Had the ball, had an offensive possession with the lead since early 4th quarter, maybe, of Air Force. Maybe before then. It's been a long time since and all of a sudden, the defense ran off the field at 14-10 and made a stop, and they were kind of juiced. And moments later, they look up, and it's 21-10. And I think it kind of flipped a switch on the team at that point, to be honest with you. I mean, it was like, whoa, okay, hold on. This is what we're supposed to look like right now, as a team. We're not holding on defensively in the offense, just trying to match score for score. This is what we're supposed to look like as a team. And I think you felt a switch at that moment on that whole team of now this is, hey guys, this is what we expect to be. And so we'll see. Hopefully that it kind of felt that way to me. In retrospect, you don't feel it in the moment per se, right? Because right. I had my beanie every different way, right? I mean, I'm still a raving lunatic till the game ends, but. I think in retrospect you look and you could, when you go back and you evaluate everything that happens during the course of a game, and you can see, I think that moment really flicked the switch for everybody. A lot of deadlifts going on.
I know. They're getting after it.
Power cleans. It's like the swim teams. I think it's the swim team in there.
They're getting after it.
Huh? Right? I don't know. I mean, if we were in there, it doesn't sound like that. We got to pick up our pace or something.
Biggest swim team in the conference. In terms of individual units, when you take a look at this season, for both the offensive and the defensive line, where does last week's game rank in your mind as far as the best in the season?
Offensive line, I think it's up there because of the complexity of what we had to deal with in the course of that game. I thought they played really well. There was another game where I think we had 4 of the 5 guys grayed out this week. There was another game where we had all 5. I'm trying to remember which one it is. Some of them blur together. I got to write down the notes of which one exactly early in the season. We had all 5 guys grayed out offensively on the line. Defensive line, I thought pretty good. I thought, but I think early we played decently on the defensive line early. Then, like I said, we kind of plateaued and got into this rut. I think our ability to come up with some sacks in this game, and especially, in sacks with the D line, not a blitz, not a, right? Not, I don't want to take credit away from Paul, but not like a Paul Gunther sack, a defensive lineman sack, right, where he had to go beat somebody, not where we drew up this great blitz that somebody came free. So I think that was pretty high. So it's up there as one of their better performances of the year.
And Colorado State was kind of a unique scout defensively with how often they blitzed and changed things up. What's the most unique thing about this Utah State front? Well,
they're different. When you look at Bronco Mendenhall, he's the 3-3-5 defense. He's one of the, I guess, like it's kind of like me with the spread. You know what I mean? We were doing it before anybody else. So, I don't know if we get official credit for inventing something, but you're certainly one of the founding fathers. And so I think the uniqueness of it, of somebody that runs a unique and a little bit different scheme that they run, that obviously it's different. They're different than they were when we played them back at BYU in the early 2000s. Very different, but there's some similarities. It's somebody that's evolved, but the one thing is when you're one of the founders and you've evolved, you know the answer. You know how you got there, right? You know how you got there, right? It'd be like going on a big hike. If you hike up a mountain, you probably have a good idea how you're getting down. If you get dropped at the top, the view's still special, but you might be in some trouble. And right, and the view's special either way, but you're kind of like, hey, I just got dropped here. So I think that's what makes them his ability to manipulate the defense with the knowledge he has in the unique 3-3-5 schemes that they run.
Coach, you mentioned the season coming down to these last 19 days. How important is it to play at home, the home field advantage, especially in a couple of these big games down the
Well, I think, it's huge. You look at this, the regular season shapes up. I obviously we're worried about one game, but if you shape it up with, you have, a home game, a home rivalry game, then you're a big rivalry game, it kind of shapes up with every game certainly should have our attention down the stretch in a critical time right now, right? Which is, in November, you want to be a championship team, you got to win in November. And so I think we have a lot to play for. I think we're certainly in the middle of I wish we controlled our destiny better than we do, but we're certainly in the middle of the race to get to the championship game. And so, I think having the schedule set up the way it is certainly has the opportunity to help us, and hopefully, it's nice we don't have to go real far, and let's hope it's really nice that the stadium's packed and loud and makes it tough on Utah State on Saturday.
And finally, Coach, for me, it looked like Jet Thomas may have gotten a little banged up in the middle of that game. How's he doing?
Yeah, he's doing good. He, this time of year, you have bumps and bruises. I think, especially on a cold night, he was tight. We had some guy, but nothing serious with him. And hopefully, we'll have a meeting here to see who showed up this afternoon sore. Everybody right now, it's kind of, it's levels of being banged up. And see where we're at for practice today. But once, he was like, I don't feel 100%. We were in a position he didn't have to play anymore. So that was like, he didn't grade out. I guess he did on one thing, but you got to play at least 20 plays to grade out. I think he only played 17 plays. So I told him, I said, you should have sucked it up and got in 3 more plays and you could have been on our champion. I think your PFF or whatever, someone said he was really good. They didn't call me to see what his grades were, but he did grade out very, very well for us, but he didn't grade a champion because he only played in 17 plays. And he should have, found a way back and said, hey, I've only played in 17. I need 3 more. He did pretty well on his 17, though.
Coach, just a thought or two on Bryson Barnes.
Yeah.
The pig farmer.
One of the things that, like you've seen, because I've got to watch him over the last couple of years. You talk about a kid. You want in your quarterback. When people talk about an it factor, a kind of a toughness that he brings. And you got to, it goes like, I want to highlight that because it goes beyond that, right? He certainly is a very good runner. He's an extremely physical, tough runner. They have some great athletes. He makes some great throws, placing the ball around, patience in the pocket, able to spread people out. He's what makes their offense go. And then from the things you just see, and I've never got to spend time with him, but the things you see on film and the things when you scout and hear about him, of those, the it factor deal, right? I think he was a walk-on at Utah, and at times it seemed like they couldn't get him off the field, right? And I mean that in an extremely complimentary way. Of they're sitting there saying, "Hey, didn't we recruit some 4 or 5 star kid, and we can't get this kid off the field?" Like and. That just shows the it factor for who he is, that he's a guy you want out there and that guys want to play for and they respond to. And I think that's a big deal. And, I mean, you see the offense goes through him. He's the guy out there on the field. Don't forget your beanies. I didn't realize it.
Marcel, Coach was just talking about that stop there on the 4th down and 1, and he said that your team defensively gained a lot of confidence. Do you see that maybe as a turning point, not only in that game, but for the defense here moving forward?
I most certainly hope so. It's just about taking it one week at a time. Last week we attacked that week with aggressive mentality, and we really emphasized the communication aspect, and we went out there and we did it. And I feel like we can carry that over to this week. We just got to be locked in and more focused on the critical details and continue to emphasize the communication part.
Reed, can you talk about blocking for those 3 running backs and what it's like?
Oh man, it's awesome. Like when those guys can make plays, it makes my job easy. They're so explosive, so athletic. So I love blocking for them, love playing with them.
How do you think the offensive line has come along in terms of improving each week?
I think we've improved each week. We're trying to take it a week at a time, like he said. Just focusing on what we need to focus on, and I think physicality was a big part of it this last week, and just staying on our tracks. And I think that's what we did, and I think we accomplished it well.
Coach put Anthony's grade at 70%. He's very critical, obviously, of quarterbacks because he's had so many good ones. But blocking for him and seeing what he can do in space and everything like that, can you just talk about him in terms of the seasons he's having?
Oh, he's a great quarterback. I love playing with him too. Super athletic, and he makes things happen. He makes plays happen. So our part is just finishing each play because we know that he's going to make something happen, and we take pride in that and finishing. So just try to do that.
Marcel, there weren't as many breakdowns mentally or physically by the defense last Saturday. Is this because the repetition of learning, teaching day after day, week after week is finally connected between the coaches and the players? Or is it more guys just saying, I'll do my job and not try to do someone else's?
I think it's a little bit of both. Obviously, there's always room for improvement, and that's what we try to work on each weekend and week out as a defense. Coming in, seeing what we did right, seeing what we did wrong, and really just looking to fix both of those, build on the rights, and turn our weaknesses into strengths. And then it also comes down to you just got to go out there. You got to do your 111. That's what I try to tell the guys before each and every series. Man, let's just go out here. Everyone just do their job. Do your 111. Trust the man next to you that he's going to do his. And again, just the communication aspect. I feel like we really hit home on that last week all through practice, and it carried over to the game.
Marcel, I want to get your thoughts on Blessing on Saturday night, just all over the field, his aggression, and what do you want to see this week from your defense?
Yeah, Blessing, that's my guy. That's my youngin', man. I remember he kind of reminded me of myself when he first showed up and just the path he's taking to get to where he's trying to go. I was excited for him, his first double-digit tackle game, and I just want to see him keep building and keep being a young starter that I know he can be. And for my defense, I just want us to continue to build on what we did last week. Last week we went out there, and after that first drive, we could have easily just been pointing fingers, and it could have been a long night. But we just buckled down, we got together, and we just like, man, we just gotta do this. Let's go have fun. Let's do it one play at a time, and let's just keep going. And after that first drive, let up 3 points, and we went out there and we just played for each other, and we was having fun doing it. That's what it's about at the end of the day, playing with each other, playing for each other, and having fun.
You talked about communication, how big that is this week. Your communication on and off the field, I feel like I've seen you really juicing up the sidelines and the bench. What kind of responsibility do you feel as a leader on this football team?
Like you said, just the communication aspect, just trying to get guys going week in, week out, game in, game out, day in, day out. It's a long season. It's a long grind, and, it can get a little repetitive and it might get a little boring, but you can't get boring with the process. You got to stay locked in and stay dedicated. The team got a lot of goals, a lot of aspirations, and it can, sometimes you can overlook it because you're getting tired of the season. You just got to stay locked in, be where your feet are, and that's what I try to preach. That's how I try to act as well.
Reed, for you, just the growth of the offensive line, how proud are you of your guys?
I'm very proud. I think we've really built that bond together, and it shows each week as we continue to improve. So I really am proud of our group.
Reed, we asked Coach Mullen where he thought last week's game ranked among the games this season in terms of the offensive and defensive line. He said there may have been one game that might have been better for the offensive line overall, but for you personally, where do you rank this game in terms of the O-line unit this season?
Gosh, that's a tough one. It's kind of hard to keep track of where you'd rank them, but I think we played well. I think we had a solid game. There's always room for improvement, but I think it's probably one of our higher ones if you'd want to rank it, yeah.
And then Marcel, you talked about the communication. I think we didn't see any better example of it than that sequence at the end of the first half when they had the ball and that field goal attempt, if you want to call it that. There was the low snap and all the craziness. Really started by the two sacks and the tackle inbounds leading to all that. In your mind, where do you see the communication playing in that type of play as far as where usually it's instinctual? It's just, hey, get lined up, we'll see what happens. Where do you think the communication played into and has developed throughout the year in that regard?
Everyone just taking accountability for themselves and knowing their job and knowing their assignment, and then communicating what you see, just certain formations and alignments and things like that, and just echoing it across the board. That way everyone can be on the same page and kind of just have an expectation of what's to come and what they could potentially see.
And for you personally, that sequence at the end of the half, you were always calm, cool, and collected out there, but that had to have been crazy up on the field while that was all going on.
Yeah, it is crazy, but you got to stay calm in those kind of crazy situations. You can't get too high, you can't get too low, because then you'll be all over the place. You got to be able to stay even keeled through all the chaos and just stay level-headed and make sure that the guys around you are doing their job and make sure you're doing your job as well.
Has Jackson reached out to you at all this season, just giving you some pointers this season at all? Jackson Woodard?
Nah, he's been busy locked in on his NFL grind, so I haven't really talked to him. But I know if he sees something that he's going to give me a pointer on, he'll shoot me a text with no hesitation.
What if I could just get from both of you guys just a thought as you get ready for Utah State now? Don't know how much you know about these guys, whatever the Aggies, but maybe just a thought or two on prepping for Utah State.
From what I've seen, they got a great quarterback. He likes to use his legs. He's very mobile. He's a dual threat. They got good receivers, good backs. And it's going to be a fist fight. You know, they're coming in. They got a good record. They got a winning record, and it's not going to be easy. No game has been easy so far this season, and we can't overlook them. No matter what their record says, they're going to come in here. They're going to play hard. They're going to look to get a victory. And as a team, we got to be ready to protect our home turf. And it starts out there on Monday, just getting the first practice under our belt and getting used to what we're going to see and getting a introduction to them.
I think the same thing. So they're a strong team, good D-line. I think their record is probably not accurate to what type of team they are. Their losses have been really close, so I think it's a good team rolling in Saturday, and we're going to have to take it serious.
I think